All right, let's dive right into this explainer and absolutely shatter the biggest myth about human history. The idea that cave life was this frantic, terrifying 24/7 struggle for survival. You know the movies, right? Early humans are always constantly running from predators, starving and fighting for every single breath. But the actual data tells a completely different, honestly almost insulting story about how we live today. Because, the contrast is literally brutal. Our ancestors enjoyed a prehistoric schedule of about 15 hours of actual survival tasks per week. Meanwhile, you're sitting there panicking over an unread work email at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. You are literally running 24/7 hyper-productivity programs on ancient biological hardware that was meant for picking berries and chilling out. 90,000 hours. Let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering amount of time you, a modern human, will spend working in your lifetime. It's roughly 1/3 of your entire waking existence dedicated to a job. But for 99% of human history, we're talking roughly 300,000 years here, jobs simply did not exist. There was no employment, no wages, no boss, and absolutely no career ladder to climb. Modern hustle culture, it's an absolute evolutionary anomaly. So welcome to Vision Mundi. Hit that subscribe button right now before the corporate grind totally formats your creative hardware. Because today, we are keeping it simply human. We're gonna look at the cold, hard archaeological facts of what human beings actually did all day before the clock took over our lives. Section 1. The original specs. Life before the clock. So what did those original specs actually look like before jobs were even a thing? What did a day in the life look like when you didn't have a supervisor tracking your every move? Well, in 1963, archaeologist Richard Lee studied the Johansi people in Botswana, whose lifestyle heavily resembled pre-agricultural humans, and he found that adults spent only about 17 hours a week acquiring food. And this wasn't some isolated case. Anthropologists tracking hunter-gatherer societies globally, like the Hadza in Tanzania, the Aceh in Paraguay, and the Martu in Australia, found the exact same thing across completely different continents. They dedicated about 15 to 20 hours a week to actual survival, leaving the rest of the time entirely free. For context, you probably work twice that just to pay rent, right? And if you're thinking, well, ancient life was probably physically brutal anyway, the skeletal data says absolutely not. When archaeologists compare ancient hunter-gatherers to the early agricultural farmers that came later, the ancient bones clearly show hunter-gatherers were vastly healthier. They were taller, they had strong teeth, and they had minimal joint wear. The early farmers, they were shorter, their teeth were completely riddled with cavities from grain-heavy diets, they had spinal arthritis from repetitive labor, and they died much younger. We literally traded our health for hard labor. Section 2. Ego psychology, the original Orofarm. Okay, so what did they actually do with all that extra bandwidth when they weren't working? They massively prioritized tribal bonding, and they basically ran the original Orofarm. They spent enormous amounts of unnecessary effort to establish identity long before LinkedIn ever existed. Archaeologists actually found 100,000-year-old perforated shell beads in Blombos Cave, South Africa. Someone literally walked a 40-kilometer round trip to the coast, spent hours carefully drilling tiny holes into seashells with stone tools, just to string them together and look incredibly good. This had absolutely zero survival benefit. And this wasn't a one-off. It builds into this incredible cultural explosion. 100,000 years ago, shell beads. 40,000 years ago, someone in Germany carved a vulture bone flute with 5 perfectly spaced finger holes. They literally understood pitch and music. 30,000 years ago, we see highly sophisticated cave paintings of horses and lions in France, rendered with actual shading and movement. Early humans dedicated immense time to mastering skills simply because competence earned respect. The crazy thing? They didn't do this for hunting or defense. They created art and beauty simply because they had the time. And honestly, that is what humans are actually programmed to do. When our ancestors weren't securing food, they were creating, they were decorating, and they were making things beautiful. Section 3. Side B, the segmented sleep patch. Our modern schedule didn't just glitch our work life, it completely overwrote how we process rest and social connection. Anthropologist Polly Weissner actually analyzed hundreds of hours of campfire conversations. During the day, talk was super practical. Complaints, hunting tracks, stuff like that. But at night, a massive 81% of conversations shifted to myths, jokes, and storytelling. This is literally where human culture was born. Gods, spirits, the past, the future. These are things you can only conceptualize when your stomach is full, you are totally safe, and you have free time. And get this, they didn't even sleep the way we do. They didn't sleep in one forced 8-hour block like a glitch forced by factory whistles. Historical records and 1990s sleep studies showed they used a segmented rest patch. First sleep for about 4 hours, then they'd wake up in the middle of the night for an hour or two of reflection, chatting, or looking at the stars whenever the server was quiet, and that was followed by a second sleep. Today, you wake up at 2 a.m. and call it insomnia. For them, it was just part of a perfectly balanced operating system. Section 4. Social Media Tribunal, the Agriculture Trap. So, how did our system crash so badly? How do we go from hanging out, making bone flutes, and working 15 hours a week to the absolute grind we are stuck in today? Well, about 10,000 years ago, we hit accept on the agricultural revolution. And frankly, it was a massive scam contract. We traded a perfectly good hunting setup for wheat farming. Absolute scam contract. L+ ratio. Agriculture is a total trap because once you start farming, you can feed more people. More people means you need more food, which means more farming. We became locked into exponential labor demands, plowing, weeding, harvesting, defending crops. This massive population explosion meant there was simply no going back. There were way too many mouths to feed by just gathering berries. And this led directly to the creation of full-time jobs and specialists. We traded our sweet 15-hour leisure weeks and our freedom for mere food security and a permanent trap in the grind. Which brings us to the productivity glitch. Look at nature. Every other animal species operates on strict biological efficiency. A lion doesn't hunt if it's not hungry. No animal works a 9-to-5 shift. But humans built a complex structure to ensure we literally never stop moving. Looking ahead to Dossier 2050, the real question is, will the future of AI automation finally give us back our 15-hour workweek? Or are modern humans simply too glitched out to ever stop grinding? Section 5, the final verdict, system overclock. Let's look at the cold, logical judgment of our current operating system. We are running a severe system overclock. Our ancestors woke up every morning, already free, already enough, and totally at peace, with absolutely nothing to prove to anyone. Our current software, we spend our entire lives chasing an illusion of greatness, wealth, and success by standards that society entirely invented out of thin air. You are working 90,000 hours to eventually retire into the exact same lifestyle your ancestors woke up to every single morning for free. You make art if you can find time after your job. They made art because they had time. So I leave you with this ultimate killer question to ponder as you log into your email tomorrow morning. If you could press a button right now to switch back to a prehistoric 15-hour workweek where you spend your days making art, telling stories, and sleeping in 2 peaceful phases, but you had to permanently give up your smartphone and the internet, are you pressing the button? Think about what you're really trading your 90,000 hours for. Logic glitch.